What is up everyone, it is British Redditor here and welcome back to the tea sipping channel. Today we'll be looking at some posts from r/talesfromretail. Before we begin, I'm trying to get to 100 subs by the end of the month, so any help towards that will be absolutely appreciated. Well, let's get into it. Karen called the store to complain I was rude, didn't realise she was talking to me. On a particular busy shift, I was running a register to help get the checkout line down. We're a small store, so we have customers form one line and we call them over one by one. When the line got down to a reasonable length, I finished ringing my customer, flipped my light off and turned to take a phone call that I had been holding for me. This lady drops her items on the counter with a huge clatter and I look up at her abruptly. After reining in my ABF, active bitch face, I apologise and tell her so-and-so can bring you out, this till is closed. She grabs the stuff and starts to huff back but then drops it back on the floor. I look over and my main cashier's already started to ring the next person in line. Karen looks at me and says, "So you expect me to wait in line again?" Acting as if it was the most unreasonable thing in the world. At this point I swallow my pride and say, "Nope, I'll just ring you out right here." I don't smile or make small talk the entire transaction. And then, right before she leaves, she does the thing only high-level Karens do. She pointedly leans in to check my name tag and looks me in the eye. I make every effort to plaster as benign and neutral a look on my face as I can as she leaves. I have no interest in showing fear to an already agitated Karen. Frankly, at this point, I don't even care. Now, I have a pretty distinctive voice. It's quite low pitched, however, when I'm in happy retail mode, it tends to travel up half an octave or so. A couple hours after the initial event, my day has turned around and I feel pretty good. The phone rings, the following exchange happens. Cheerily, "Thank you for calling Retail. This is my name. How may I help you?" "Can I talk to the manager, please?" At this point, I don't recognize Karen. "I'm the manager on duty. How can I help you?" "Yeah, I'd like to report an incident I had in your store. One of your cashiers was extremely rude to me." Sincerely concerned something happened. "I'm sorry to hear that. Can you tell me what happened?" Proceeds to relate story. "And then she acted like it was a total imposition to help me. I had been waiting in line for 20 minutes and she just didn't care." So I asked Karen which register she was at, and that's when I realised she is talking about me. I recognise I have a choice, continue to allow her assumption, or correct her and deal with the fallout. Sounding stern and appalled while maintaining a higher pitched voice. "Really? Well, that's unacceptable, ma'am. I apologise for that, and I will be speaking to her right away." It's just re-explain scenario and how she finds it just terrible. "Oh, I understand completely. She and I will sit down and talk about that. I will make sure she understands my expectations." Karen thanks me and hangs up. It was so satisfying somehow, I can't say why. Oh, it's always satisfying when the cashier that the Karen complains about is actually the manager. Anyway, this next story is a really good one, so be sure to stick around. Don't want to pay $200 for your gas? Enjoy paying $8,000 for a new dock. I worked at a small marina on a lake during the summer from when I was 17 all the way until I graduated college and moved away. For most part, it was a summer job every high school/college student dreams of. My boss was super laid back, most of the customers were super rich, nice retirees that tipped well. And if there were no customers, I could read, mess around on my phone, swim in the lake, etc. To this day, it was the most enjoyable job I've ever had. For the most part, my customers were in a good mood when they came to get gas for their boats. I can count the number of irate/bad customers that I've had over the course of 6 years on both of my hands. This customer is the only one that I'd ever had that tried to get away without paying. It did not end well for him. So I was manning the marina by myself that day. It was still the off season, pre-Memorial Day, and we were only open on the weekends. Most people were just starting to take their boats out of storage and business was super slow. It was nearing closing time and I had a whopping total of 3 customers come by over the course of that day. And I didn't make a loss in tips. I didn't really mind though, as I had brought along my DS and had spent the time playing Pokemon. I'm just about to head inside and start closing for the day when I see a boat speeding along to the dock. Now, my boss's rule for taking customers at the end of the day was, take them at your discretion, which basically translated to, take them if you want or turn them away, I really don't care. I had nothing better to do, so I decided just to stay open a little late and help this guy out. I got a little excited when I noticed that this guy, let's call him Mr. Mingy Moneybags, or Mr. MM, had a really fancy new wake boat. The people who own these things are usually filthy rich and tip well, as weight boats usually have monstrous gas tanks that can hold 30 to 60 gallons of gas. My car, for reference, holds about 15 gallons, and their bills are usually very high. Mr. MM pulls up to the dock and I helped moor his boat. I then started filling it up. I make myself comfy while I do this, as Mr. MM said his boat takes 50 gallons and was almost empty, so it would take a while to fill it. This was back in 2013 when gas was still super pricey, and we only sold ethanol-free gas, so the price was just over $4 per gallon. Mr. MM complains to me about the price, and I just shrug, saying that I'm not the one who decides what the prices are. He grows more and more agitated as the bill keeps climbing. I ask him if he's sure that he wants to fill it up all the way. He just gives me a clipped "yeah" and continues to stare at the numbers ticking up on the pump. Finally, 47 gallons of gas later, Mr. MM's boat is filled and his bill comes out just over $190. It was the most expensive bill I'd ever seen up to that point. I turn to him and ask him how he's going to pay. He makes a show of patting his pockets and looking around his boat for a while. I just raise my eyebrows. He finally turns to me and says that he forgot his wallet. Now, I've had people forget to bring money before, and I'm usually very understanding about it. What I'll usually do is hang on to something of theirs as collateral, usually a driver's license, sometimes their car keys or phone. I put it in the lockbox and wait for them to go home and grab their wallet. Pretty much everyone who owns a boat on this lake also lives on / near the lake, so it's never been an issue. Something that I also did that I didn't tell the customers that I was doing was writing down their boat's tag number. If they didn't pay by the end of the day, I could give the tag number to security and they could pull up their boat registration, which had their name, address and the works. Up to this day, I had never had to report a customer to security. When Mr. MM states that he doesn't have his wallet, I quickly glance at the tag on the side of his boat and jot down the numbers. I then address Mr. MM. "Well, sir, it's the end of the day, so if you could hurry home and get your wallet ASAP, I would appreciate it. I'll also need something of yours to keep as collateral." "Oh, that'll take too long. Do you have a phone on you?" "Yeah, in my purse." "If you could give me your phone, I can call my wife. She can drive down here with my wallet in no time." The answer satisfies me, so I turn on to go into the building and grab my phone. While I'm doing this, I hear him turn his engine on. Not too unusual, so I keep going on my way. Then I hear a massive vroom, followed by a loud crunch. I whip around and see this guy speeding down the lake. He had pulled a runner on me. But because this man is apparently an idiot, he also forgot to untie his boat from the dock completely. He got the rope off the cleat next to him, but had apparently forgotten about the one tied to the back of his boat, which I had left some slack on. Now, normally the cleats on the boat would lose in this situation, or maybe the rope would snap, but our dock was a super old, crappy, splintery mess. So instead, the cleat that was nailed into the dock got pulled completely free, along with an enormous chunk of wood. There was also a huge crack running down the length of the plank. This dumbass was now speeding down the lake with a piece of the dock dragging behind him. There's not really much I can do about Mr. MM now, so I go inside and radio security. I give them the tag number, and along with the description of him and his boat, I also mention that he damaged the dock and owes almost $200 in gas. They thank me and say they'll get right on it. I then text my boss about what happened and send him a picture of the freshly ruined dock. He is pissed and says Mr. MM better be prepared to fix it. I then go inside and finish closing for the day. I had to include a note to finance about why we were almost $200 short for the day and explain that security was working on it. The very next day, my boss calls me. Security had gotten the police involved for theft and destruction of private property. The dock technically belonged to the neighborhood association. They got to him the very same day because, of course they did, they had his address. Also, turns out the guy wasn't even married. He just told me that BS to get me to turn my back. The association threatened to press charges and bring the guy to court unless he agreed to the following terms. Number 1, he would pay what he owed for the gas. 2, he would be banned from registering a boat on this lake. It was either for 10 or 15 years, I can't really remember. And 3, he would pay to completely replace the dock he damaged. Mr. MM apparently belonged to the throw money at problems to make them go away school of thought. Or perhaps just realised that if it went to court he would probably lose. The whole thing was caught on the security cameras. Agreed to the terms without much of a fight. The marina was closed for 3 weeks while the dock was being rebuilt. I returned to work after that to admire our brand spanking new dock. The new dock's planks were composite instead of wood, and we got brand new pilings too. No more splinters. The new dock cost the guy nearly $8,000. To this day, I don't understand why a guy with so much money to throw around got so agitated about paying $200 for gas for a boat that must have cost him well over 60 grand. Wow, what an absolute idiot thinking he could run away from his problems. How did he not know that he would be caught so easily when he's standing in a place where expensive boats are stationed all the time? Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to support me, and I'll see you in the next video.